Hi, this is Andre Faria from 6th Sense, and I am the newest member of the Freestyle Club.
How do you get your last name wrong?
You got your last name wrong. You want to write it down?
Hi, this is Andre Faria from 6th Sense, and I am the newest member of the Freestyle Club.
Is it Faria or Faria?
Warning. The Freestyle Club contains adult language. It is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. This is Freestyle Club with your hosts, DaUnknownAdmin, Rafael Reyes, and CPR, Jose Ortiz.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Freestyle Club. My name is CPR Jose Ortiz, and I'm being joined by the unknown admin, Rafael Reyes.
What's good, you bastards?
And on the third chair this week, we have a manager, promoter, producer, record label, exec, t-shirt seller, CD seller, booster of seats. We have from 6th Sense, Andre Faria joining us this week on the third chair. Andre, welcome to the Freestyle Club.
Thank you for having me. I've actually listened to the last couple of episodes, and it's been really informative. Really, I was a little nervous coming on here, and I listened to the last couple of episodes, and it's been great. It's great. You guys touch on a lot of different topics, and I'm excited to be here. So
we've had two passionate arguments happening on the Freestyle Club. One that has to do with the bookings of artists for shows, and somebody that has been able to break through has been Andre Faria. Andre has been working side by side for many years with Sal Abatello, but it wasn't something that was just given to him. It was something that he worked for. So the reason why we have Andre on the third chair this week is to talk all those different aspects, because he's been into managing, promoting. He has his own record label, but also he's had his artists featured on Fever Record shows. So I wanted to discuss those as well.
I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to our conversation, because my biggest gripe with freestyle, the genre / industry, is that it's always two steps behind of the times. And let me just explain a little bit about that. When we had the freestyle boards, someone wrote, in order for freestyle to come back, it needs to go back to the DJs, meaning that he wanted to see more mixtape. And what was that for? Because people came out of the woodwork saying, no, mixtapes are evil, they'll kill the genre, blah, 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 right? Then after that, Glenn Gutierrez, to his credit, said that the future in music was downloads. And how many people came out and said, no, CDs are the way to go, downloads are evil? So I was looking at Andre's profile. He mentioned streaming. He's the only one that's mentioned streaming so far. So to me, he is someone that's forward thinking in freestyle. And to me, I can't wait to have this conversation.
This is the Freestyle Club.
6th Sense Radio, is that still going strong?
yeah, we are slowly building it. A lot of things have been happening with Hyena, so we kind of pushed it to the side, but we are going to be FM probably by the end of the year. We would just pick, we got the low power FM license. We got everything ready to go. It just, we've been slowly building the studio as we speak and buying the equipment. And, but at the same time, there's been so many different things that's going on with Hyena right now that, we kind of had to take a little bit of a priority towards, because, she has a lot of California stuff coming up in October, and she's like booked all over the place. And so we're going to be doing a lot of traveling soon, and there's a lot of stuff, going on production wise. So, we're planning on doing it probably by the end of the year. We're ready to launch, and it's a little scary. It's very, very exciting. My wife is kind of freaking out because I told her the budget is going to be a certain amount. I didn't realize how expensive it was, and it's like 15 times that. But either way, I'm ready to launch it, and it's exciting. It's a little scary, but exciting.
You're interested in not only streaming, but you're also interested in having an FM radio station.
Absolutely. I believe that you should, I've always been one that I want to step in every part of the game and try to lock everything up. Streaming is very, very important. It's the future. And that's all it is. I recently hooked up with some new people, and they showed me a whole new way of getting things done through streaming. And bottom line, just talking to the younger kids and, my daughters, I'm sure everybody's kids, they don't buy records anymore. Everybody streams, Spotify, Tidal, Google Play, iTunes, Apple Music, and no one really listens, downloads music anymore. Everything's about streaming, and, doing a couple 100 streams is not going to make a difference. But when you focus it correctly and you're doing a couple million streams and you know how the pricing goes, you could probably make a good 15, 20 grand per track if you do the streams right, and if you market it on the right right way. In other words, Spotify pays a certain amount. I know Google Play pays the most. And then you have, Tidal also pays well. iTunes doesn't really pay anything. So just focusing on where you're going to put the streaming marketing through and hoping for the best. So, but streaming is the way to go. We've been testing it last couple of weeks and months with Taina. We've been taking a lot of her older stuff and re-releasing it through the streams, marketing it heavy, and we've been seeing a big turnaround on this. And her views and her followers have doubled, if not tripled, because of the following. She went from, I don't know, a couple, 3 or 4 or 500 followers on Facebook. She's now at 24,000. She went from like 200 friends on her Facebook page. She's like at 8,000 now. So, it's people that are watching and listening to her streams, and we see the popularity growing, and we see things happening because of the streaming. And I strongly believe that if freestyle is going to survive or have a resurgence, it should be through streaming, because with the streaming, you're going to attract the younger generation, which is what we talked about before, CPR. We're trying to get the younger kids in there when you do those family nights with the shows and you're bringing the kids involved. It's all about attracting the younger crowd and getting them turned on to the music.
This is the Freestyle Club. Topic of the week. Let's talk freestyle.
This week's topic is promoting, also being booked, talent management, which you have been able to be part of. Let's rewind to the beginning. How did the concept of 6 Cents come about, and how did you get involved in promoting freestyle?
I grew up in the projects, Astoria projects, and Latimer project, and I was always throwing parties as a kid. We used to, take the light post and break open the bin, and we used to plug in the DeeJay equipment. We used to put it out of people's apartments, and we used to have these house parties in the parks all the time. And during those days, we were very into graffiti, very into hip hop, very into freestyle music. During the 80s and 90s, that's all it was. One of the biggest websites around during the graffiti era was a company called 6 Cents, and they used to have, everything with graffiti and the elements of hip hop. And I was always a big fan of the music. I was always a big fan of the website. We grew up watching it. When we used to do graffiti on the trains and so forth and vandalize walls, we used to hope that they would post our stuff on that website. Especially when that was our 5 minutes of fame. They would interview.
I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, eventually that grew out, and then, then I started getting involved in hip hop at one point, and I couldn't pack up a place to fill up anything. Every time I used to throw a party, no one would show up. And I was probably like in my early 20s, and I met this young man named Matthew Hall, and he was a kid from Hunter College in the city. And I used to go to his shows, and his shows were packed beyond belief. I used to watch him, and he used to show me how to do it, and we used to throw parties together. And our first party, it was packed, and we made like $3,000 profit. I was like, this is great. But Matthew Hall was the type of kid that would say, okay, we're going to take this $3,000 and donate it towards domestic violence. That's just the type of person he was. We used to have fights over this, all the time, because I used to say, let's spend some of this money, let's reinvest. At one point, we were booking, we had a whole bunch of artists, and we were going around, and we were going to the Zulu Nation 30th anniversary, and we were booking artists for that one show. And as we came out, there was a fight broke out down the block. We were in Harlem, and Matthew he just turned 18 years old. And Matthew's like, well, let's go. And me, I was so curious. I said, well, let's see who's fighting. And everybody ran towards us. Somebody yelled out gun, and he fell to the ground, and he passed away. And ever since then, I said, I'm going to honor him, and we're going to start, doing these shows in his honor. And, we get involved in a lot of different charities and so forth. And eventually, after he passed away, I kind of stepped away from it. A couple years later, I was with a couple of friends of mine. We saw that the 6 Cents website was up for auction. I don't know what happened, but I snatched it up really quick. I bought it, and I took it over. My wife, it was her birthday was coming up, and I said, what do you want for your birthday? And she said, I love freestyle music. Okay, no problem. I'm going to book every freestyle artist that you want. We booked all these acts, and I remember Sal Abatello had called me up because I was trying to call Sapphire, and I didn't want to deal with him because I didn't know him. I didn't really trust him.
That's not the first time I heard that.
So I said, no, I'm going to do it myself. And I did it myself, and I booked all these acts, and it cost me a couple of grand. So I said, how am I going to recoup this cost? I said, maybe I'll sell tickets, and my wife should have all the acts there, and I can recoup my money. And I sold out. When I sold out, I looked at everything, and I made like $3,000 or $4,000 profit. I'm like, wow, this is great. I said, let's do it again. This time I tried to book different artists. And when I booked that original show, I booked it through Charlie Rock. And when I tried calling him again to see if I could book another show, he was involved in that award show that he was doing in Miami. So he didn't really have time to talk to me. I was still a little scared to talk to Sal because I heard all these things about him. And I was like, I don't know if I should call him. He's a little pushy, you know? So I called Latif and I said, and Latif's like, yeah, what do you want to do? I said, listen, I have a $5,000 budget and I want to book, I want to put together a show. So Latif was like, okay, well, we could do this artist, that artist, and it'll cost you $10,000. I'm like, well, I told you I have a $5,000 budget. And he goes, all right, so we could do this artist, this artist, this artist, and it'll cost you $12,000. I'm like, dude, these prices are going up.
The upsell.
I'm telling you, I only have a $5,000 budget. I tried calling Ruben, and I said, hey, I have a $5,000 budget. He goes, how much do you have now? I said, I have $1,000 now. He hung up the phone on me. So I was hesitant. I called up Sal, and I said, Sal, I really want to do this show, and I have a $5,000 budget. And Sal's like, well, how much do you have on you now? So I said, I have maybe $1,500. So he's like, listen, I can give you these acts, Judy Torres and Noel, and it'll cost you like $5,300 or $5,400. I said, that's fine. I said, but I only have $1,500 on me. He's like, Sal's like, give me the $1,500, get the other money together. If you don't come up with the money, I'm just going to keep your $1,500. So I did it. We booked the acts and we sold out the show, and he was paid on time and accordingly. And it just flowed over from there. Sal and I became close. He loved the fact of how I used to promote. He used to see me at Resorts World handing out flyers, see me in the rain, see me in the cold, handing out flyers. I was constantly getting thrown out of clubs. I would sneak right back in to promote. He saw that I was a hustler. I didn't give up. And, you know, it was my money on the line. So I had to do whatever it took to get my money back by selling tickets. And that's one thing that Sal really appreciates, is that he looks for people that actually work for their craft, people that aren't scared, you know. And you'll see me at Radio City Music Hall. I'll have 3 or 4 or 5 guys there, and I'll be out there with them in the rain, in the cold, handing out flyers, selling tickets, talking to them, you know, making deals, drink packages or whatever on the streets. And that's something that Sal and I really appreciated. And then we started, you know, going back and forth, investing in projects together. And that's how him and I got close. And that's how everything started going out of control. And then we attached 6 cents to it just as a way to, you know, for tax purposes and whatnot. And we registered it, and it just worked because we needed a name, and we just put 6 cents together.
You did something that is such a New York thing. You stand outside, you sell tickets, you sell these packages. I mean, I go to 42nd Street and people are always trying to sell me tickets to a comedy show or check out the strippers or come in for dinner. So you got that same New York mentality. Why is it that people look down on you doing something like that, where you are using the tools that everybody in New York uses, but for freestyle, call it something negative as you got to sell tickets to be down with fever?
It's not necessarily fever. I mean, you know, look, if I'm putting my own shows together, you know, it's my money on the line. You know, I grew up in an old school mentality. You know, my whole business model, you know, I was in the stockbroking business, you know, where, you know, they tied us down to the chairs until we made 1,000 phone calls. You know, I'm a very aggressive person. And even at this point in time where I have a staff and I have a crew, I'm still out there on the street. As much as social media is great, you have social media, you have online, all these online things that you can do, apps and things that can help you with mailing lists and text messaging lists and everything else like that. It's still great to meet these people and talk to them one-on-one and tell them, hey, listen, I got a great show going on. I have Noel, I have Judy, I have George, I have Kay, I have all these people, you know, come down to the show, and they appreciate that a lot more. Even some of the artists may look at you and say, this guy's a hustler. You know, you see, I'm pushing their name at the end of the day. And, you know, I think the whole thing is pride. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, I don't want to do that, but, you know, you have to get your hands dirty if you want to accomplish a goal. People are scared to do that, and I do it all day, and it works. When you see a show that I'm doing in the city that's packed, you know, the place fits 500 people and we have 700 people in there, and it works because we had that old school mentality. Don't get me wrong, we're still texting people, we're still sending email blasts and social media blasts, you know, we're still doing all that, but we're still hitting the streets, we're still going to our competitors' shows and venues. We're handing out flyers inside, handing out flyers outside. We're talking to the people that are coming in. You know, if there's a Noel show in Jersey, we're there because we have a Noel show in New York in 3 or 4 weeks. So we try to attract the people that, if you're going there to that show, it's because you like those artists. And we have the same artists in a future show. That's the type of crowd and demographics that you want to go after. And people don't think that. They sit on the computer and they just think that social media is the way to go. But social media is so inundated. There's 1,000 promoters out there trying to post their flyers, and it becomes a blur. But when you talk to someone face to face and you're handing out those flyers, you're talking to them about the show. Hey, I got my own personal tickets here. It's $40 a ticket, but give me 20, and you're wheeling and dealing. And that's something that I've always been into. That's something that I've always liked, and it's always worked for me. And it just works.
But to rewind to what I stated in regards to a fever, I know that it's not a fever thing, but basically you earned your way and opened your own doors. But people see it in another manner, that you're kissing Sal Avatello's ass, or that you're doing something to get in.
Well, Sal likes people that hustles. In Sal's position at his point in time, he gets literally 1,000 phone calls a day. And this is something that Sal had told me personally. Sal says, there are so many people that call me and say, I want this, I want that, I want. But no one's asking me what I want. No one's actually telling me, hey, I got something for you. And that's a big thing. Everyone calls up Sal left and right, put me on a show, put this person on a show, put that person on a show. And at one point in the past, I think sell 20 tickets and you can go on the show. And does he do that for certain people? I don't know. But I do know that he just saw that I hustled and I was able to sell tickets and I was able to bring in a draw. And if you're a promoter, whether you're a Sal or a Brian Rosenberg or an Adam Torres or an Angela Ghazi or whatever you may be, one thing every promoter looks for is, can you bring a draw? At the end of the day, they're not going to give any, new school artists a chance unless they know. Taina is on these shows because Sal knows that I'm going to hustle and I'm going to push ticket sales. I'm going to promote the show because they're giving her an opportunity. Whether or not I post a flyer a million different places, email blast, whatever, there are people coming in and I'm causing a stir for this particular show. And that's what Sal appreciates. And that's what Sal wants. He wants someone, if I'm putting you on the show, I want you to promote this show like you've never promoted anything in your life. I'm giving you an opportunity to shine. So help me shine. It's a give and take. And the problem with people that are trying to get involved with Sal is that nobody is returning the favor. To be on these shows, it's a privilege. Sal doesn't have to put you on these shows. And he's giving you the opportunity to do it. So show what you're worth and make it worth your while. Sal watches everything. It may seem like he doesn't, but he does. And if you're going to bat for him, he's going to go to bat for you. And that's why he has this circle, and that's why he deals with the people that he deals with, because he wants loyalty. He's giving me an opportunity. I'm going to return the favor to him. And I'm also giving him opportunities as well. Sal, there's a big show coming up. It's a $15,000 budget. I can't handle it. Can we go half and half? And, and we'll split the profit down the line. Now I'm giving him an opportunity to earn, and he appreciates that, and then he also appreciates that if we take a loss on a show, we lost $9,000 on a show, you owe me $4,500. I'll bitch and moan, but I'll pay it. And it's not about just, winning at the same time. It's taking losses and taking responsibility for it. And that's what builds a relationship, knowing that if we take a loss, I'm going to take that loss with them. If we take a win, we're going to take that win together.
There's so much good information in the last 10 minutes of this conversation. And so I want to give the unknown admin some time to maybe ask you some questions, because I know he's listening to you. And I know that he's also read a lot of the comments that are online. I wanted to see what his take was at this time.
What would you say some of the biggest obstacles were when you started promoting?
People shutting the door in my face. People don't like when you go to different competitors' clubs to promote your flyers. It was a big thing getting thrown out. People shutting the door on you. No one's giving you the opportunity to try to promote your product and promote your brand. But the whole thing is just try and try. I don't want to sit home. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm the type of person that says, well, I tried and I lost, but I'm going to try again. The biggest thing with promoting these events is trying to get the word out there. Again, social media is so inundated. There's a million guys that are posting shows, and it becomes a blur. So you have to be 10 times more aggressive than the average person. You have to put 3 or 4 or 5 guys putting that flyer in your face to make you see it. And then you wake up in the morning and you get an email, and then you get a text message, and then you check your email and it's there. And then when you go to the club at night, you see us there handing out flyers. We've actually built a call center now that we have guys calling your house now where you're eating dinner. Hey, we have a show coming up this weekend. We give you.
Oh, you're the one. So you're the one, huh?
Yeah. Those annoying people that call you up at night. Now we're doing it. We have 3 or 4 guys that are calling you up. We have your phone number, and we're calling you up, and we're offering you a discount. Hey, you've been to the last 3 shows. Why don't we cut you out on a discount? Maybe give you a couple of drinks, and we try to be more advanced and more aggressive than the average person. Again, on social media, one of the people's biggest mistakes is that they're sitting on the computer just putting out one flyer on their page, and they're not paying attention to the activity. And that's the biggest downfall with promoters, is that I can put it on 15 different pages, but when you look at those pages, you got no views, maybe 1 like, maybe it wasn't even accepted in that group. And I examine all of that, and I look at those groups. All right, this group may have 3,000 people, but I got 15 likes and 3 comments. This group has 40,000 members, and it wouldn't even let me in. Get rid of that group. This group has 10,000 members and 1 like for the last 3 or 4 flyers. Get rid of that group. Focus on the people that you're getting the activity on. And if you're promoting in the same group or the same type of people that you're not getting no activity, and they're not even paying attention. Look, I promoted the 15 groups, but those 15 groups aren't giving you no activity. I'd rather promote the 3 or 4 groups that have the most activity. Yeah. And people just don't pay attention to the numbers and the stats, and that's the major downfall.
Yeah, I see a lot of that where you go to the groups and it's just people posting the same stuff in like 1,000 different groups. But I think it's better to post in the 10 or 20 groups that are active than to waste your time with 1,000 groups where the people are just going to be the same. And you can just use that extra time doing something else.
And it's just like what you said, previous episodes of the Freestyle Club. Once you post something on one of these groups, it's going to be gone 5 minutes later. It's going to be buried in a lot of stuff. And that's a great point that the Unknown Admin made previously during one of the shows.
Subscribe to the Freestyle Club podcast, theunknownadmin.com, and cprsmusic.com.
You went from promoting shows to becoming a manager. Why did you start managing artists early on in your career?
Mickey Garcia invited me to his house for one of his parties, and I met a guy named Tony Romeo, and he told me, he goes, hey, listen, I met this girl named Jill Terrell, and you have to meet her, and she's great, and maybe you could do something with her. And I was like, well, I'm not a manager. What am I going to do? I don't know anything about that. But I had met her, and she's a tall girl, beautiful, and we had a conversation. We exchanged phone numbers. I knew Rosa from the Diamante show for maybe 20 years, even back when I was doing hip hop. And she was asking me if I knew any artists to go to the Diamante show. So I was like, yeah, I'll help her, and I called up Jill. I said, hey, do you want to do the show? And she came down. She did the show, and I think she liked the fact that I was always very overprotective. We kind of work well together. We made sure her mic was working, and then there was like another show, and she just did that song "Runaway" with Julio Mena, and Julio Mena hit me up wanting to be on the show that I was doing called Kings of Freestyle. I heard his music. I said, yeah, it was great, and it just so happened that at the time I was talking to Jill, Julio and Jill were already talking. They already did that song "Runaway" together.
Had to run away.
I heard it, and I asked Sal, why don't you consider putting this group on the show to open? And Sal's like, I don't want to deal with them. No. What I did was, just because a Fever name, a Fever logo is on that flyer doesn't necessarily mean it's a Fever show. Could mean you booked the artist through him, or he's helping you promote it, or whatever. And there was a venue that I wanted Jill Terrell to be on, and Sal said no. So I called up the venue owner, I called up the show promoter who was doing it, and I got her in. Sal walks in, he goes, why is she here? And then the promoter's like, well, Andre called us. And again, that's what Sal likes. He likes the fact that you're a hustler and you're going to get the job done no matter what, even if you have to go around. But he heard Runaway, and Sal absolutely loved that song. And then we started putting them together on a couple more shows, and it just started spinning out of control. But just to clear the air, Sal doesn't put Taina or the artists that I represent on every single show. Sal says no to me probably like 6 times out of 10, but because I find ways of going around it. Again, not all the shows are his. You could be hosting it or whatever, but there are other people paying the bill as well. So sometimes you have to go around that, and that's how it looks like, Taina or Joe or whoever was on all these shows. But, I was finding ways of getting them in, and I was making deals with them, that we can help push and help promote the event and get the word out. It was like a give and take with these people. So that's how, we started working, and it just spilled out of control. And next thing you know, we're working together. And Jill and I at one point, we made a great team. Jill and I learned a lot of stuff about the business together, in terms of getting money on the side and doing this and doing that and getting more bookings. And we would collaborate together. We became like a sister brother type of team. And that's how we learned a lot on how to succeed in this business. So
you started adding more and more to your team. And how did you end up with Taina?
So we did a song called Love and War, and it was a way of paying back some money that was owed. We did the song together.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. What do you mean paying some money that was owed?
As I was paying for a lot of the bill. I was paying for the travel. I was paying for this. I was paying for that, and hoping to recoup it. I was paying for other stuff that he needed. And at one point, he says, "Well, how about we just do a song together? You can have it." I said, "All right, let's do that. Let's see how it works." So he did Love and War. We had a leading lady for the video, and she backed out last minute. Maria Tucker, she says, "Hey, I know somebody, and she's great. She's an actress, and she's a part-time singer, and we'll send her over." So we had her meet us at a house in Long Island where we were doing the video shoot, and it was Taina, and Taina came literally like 2 hours early. And if you know Taina looks a lot younger than her age. So when I met her years ago, she looked like she was 12 years old. And I was complaining. I said, yeah, I needed a leading lady who looked, who was like voluptuous, and you sent me a girl who looks like she's 12 years old. So she's sitting down in my living room, and I'm like, "What's your name?" She goes, "I'm Taina." I said, "Hey, how are you?" And we're 2 hours before anybody was supposed to show up. So I got up and I walked away, and I left her by herself in the living room for 2 hours. I called my wife and I said, "Listen, there's some." She goes, "Oh, did Taina show up?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "She's been sitting on the couch by herself for 2 hours." And she's like, "Why are you leaving her on the couch for 2 hours?" I'm like, "Because I don't believe that she's 19. She has to be 12 years old." And I said, "I don't want like Chris Hansen coming out the closet. Like, what are you doing with this young girl?"
Oh my God.
So I just didn't want to be around her. I just didn't want to be around like a young little girl. But, she turned out she was like 18, 19 at the time. And we did the video shoot, and then she says she can sing. And when she sung for us, she had like this sultry, like a Nelly Furtado, Rihanna type of vibe. And I said, let's see if we can try to do something with her. And we brought her to the mix.
Tonight, you'll finally get what's coming to you. Yes, tonight, you're playing games are done, you gotta go. And I love you so. Pack it, you a cab and drive away and don't look back. Try to let you go, but I can't leave you alone. I try to let you go, but I can't leave you alone.
At one point, Ty Bless came into the mix, and then everyone just jumped on board for some reason, and it turned out to be some big thing. And Taina, at the end of the day, she's the only one that really stayed at the end, because we built that much of a relationship. There's a loyalty between us, and she's doing great things now. So
Taina and Ty Bless was my favorite duo of recent memory.
I'm suffering through an obsession. My girl wanna leave me, I'm on my knees. She's ordering up some protection. We both need to breathe. If she wanna leave, it's more of the wings that she's spreading. And I cannot see not being with me. I'm bringing from Armageddon. You're home with the kids, I'm out with the big. Willing while you feeling sad. The better I get, you're giving me and I wanna bounce so bad. The groupies and chicks, you paying my click. Perks that come with the gig. I'm Gucci to split, I'm taking a hit. And her just letting me live.
I thought they gelled together very well. I thought that they were a great team, and I was saddened to see that it didn't last. What do you think a lot of the people that you had as part of your Sixth Sense group just parted ways and went their own separate way?
Jill and Julio had Runaway together, and they were doing shows together all over the place, but they didn't really get along. Jill is very refined. Jill doesn't like to have her personal business thrown out there. Jill doesn't like the drama. Jill Terrell is probably like one of the most professional people to do an interview with. You can try to stump her, she'll walk right through it. You know, she's awesome like that, where Julio's comes from a different cloth, so their personalities just didn't mesh. So even though they did shows together and they were civil together, but, you know, it didn't work out because it's just two different personalities, two different vibes. You know, Jill is also a mother, so she's very concerned about her image and what people think about her. You can ask her and she'll agree. With Ty Bless and Taina, we were all a family, and you know, it's not good to shit where you eat.
And what about Gabriella? I know that you had her for a good solid year, and, you know, she had the #1 song in all of Freestyle for 2017. What happened with Gabriella?
Temptation, your sweet temptation.
Team 6.
We're touching bodies on the dance floor.
Gabriella, baby, you know.
I'm gonna leave you wanting more.
Don't tempt us, baby.
Temptation. It's 10 o'clock. Got my little black dress on.
With Gabriella, I think she didn't see the vision that we saw. You know, at that point, you know, I told her, I said, listen, you know, my route to get through things is through the freestyle route, you know, because I know all the promoters, I know all the venues, I know everything. I wanted her, just like you preach all the time, earning your audience. You know, it's not about just making a record and putting it out there. You know, we need to perfect your craft. You know, we want you to do your shows. We want you to do rehearsals and do everything that you wanted to do. And she did it. You know, she didn't really see where I was going, but she did it as well, and she did very well. And then, you know, she just had some personal family problems that we didn't know about. You know, all of a sudden we saw, you know, a couple of her last shows were not as good because she has a killer voice, an amazing voice. And her last shows wasn't that well. So we're trying to figure out what was wrong with her. And it turned out she had some personal family issues, and she wanted to take some time off, you know? So I said, oh, okay. So we didn't push it. You know, we were a little upset because I felt like she should have opened up to us and let us know. You know, we could have helped her. Then she said that she didn't feel like she was getting anywhere, and she didn't feel like she wasn't progressing as fast. And I said, I know where you're going with this, but you have to earn your audience. It's an uphill battle. Taina knows everything. She knows how to handle a big crowd. She knows how to handle a small crowd. The mic cuts off, she knows what to do. She knows how to handle shady promoters. She knows how to handle the business as a whole because she went through it. She went through the ups and downs. She cried, she laughed, she succeeded, she failed. And I want any artist that is going to roll with us, I want every artist to go through that. They have to learn the business. And the best way to learn it is through the freestyle genre, where you have a taste of these big venues and you're actually talking to artists that are 30 years in the business, platinum selling artists that are still making a good amount of money that they don't have to work. The TKAs, the Judys, the Cynthias, and they've all sat down with Taina and told them stories. I got screwed over. I did this and I did that. And she learned everything by talking to these living legends that are still out there 30 years later, and that's what made her the artist that she is. Taina did the work, and a lot of artists didn't want to do the work. But I still talk to Gabriella. She's still great. She's getting better with a family situation, and, you know, we have a single that we're going to release sometime next month or so, and, you know, we wish her the best. You know, there's no hard feelings. We love her to death. We still talk to her on a daily basis. We still talk to her family, and she's still close with Taina. They talk and they hang out and stuff like that. So, you know, it was never anything negative. It's just she wanted to go a fast track, and she didn't want to work like everybody else did. So that was the problem with that. So
Subscribe to the Freestyle Club podcast, DaUnknownAdmin.com, and CPRSmusic.com.
Well, I was just looking over Andre's roster. It's pretty impressive. Over 40 artists, a very diverse roster. Everything from Brenda K. Starr to Joe Zangi, Lisa to Nina Sky, Fat Joe, Big Daddy Kane, Jodeci, Crystal Waters. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a bunch of heavy hitters. So my question to you is there someone that you want to work with?
Some person that I've never actually personally worked with, but we've been in the same circles. I've always wanted to book La India. You know, there's certain artists that, you know, I always wanted to just work with them and so forth. But, you know, working with these artists, you know, don't forget, these are artists that I grew up listening to. In the beginning, when I jumped in here, I was trying not to fanboy, you know, like the first time I met TKA, I was kind of like, I lost my virginity to Louder Than Love. You know, so damn. Like
TMI,
you know
TMI.
So, you know, so to see all these acts, Judy Torres, and be able to work with them, and, you know, now you have their cell phones and you're bullshitting with them, you're having drinks with them on a Friday night, on a Thursday night, and stuff like that. it's a little weird, and it's a little it's an honor, really, because some of these people are so humble, and it's so exciting to be working with these people and booking them and working with them side by side, and it's an honor, and I love doing these shows. It's a joy to love what you do.
I know that you and I are not supposed to get personal on this conversation, but I'm going to break the rules. Do you feel that these relationships in freestyle are just temporary and are meant to not last?
Taina was brand spanking new when I met her. We molded her and we made her a certain way, and she has her appreciations and she has her vision. I think with Jill and Julio and Shy and Ty Bless and all these people, they've been around for 10 years, 15 years, and they've been shitted on. And whether or not it was the artist's fault or whether or not it was bad promoters, bad managers, a lot of them have a bad taste in their mouths. So a lot of times they don't really trust, or they don't respect me. I don't have 15, 20 years in the freestyle genre like you guys do. I'm probably 5 years in, so they look at me and they'll say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. His vision is a little wacky. I don't agree with it. But they've been doing this for 15, 20 years, and they haven't gotten to the point where they want it to be. Obviously they're probably doing something wrong. Everybody wants to jump on board. They like what I'm doing. But when I try to give them my ideas and how I do things, they kind of get a little confused. They get a little scared. They're scared of starting over. But sometimes you have to start over. And a lot of people, they feel like they're established. I've been around for 15, 20 years. I earned my rights. Well, you haven't earned your rights because you're not where you want to be. If you earned where you want to be, then you wouldn't be calling me. And there's been a handful of A-list artists that are doing shows all over the place, platinum selling records, that have come up to me and asked me to work with them. And it's the same thing. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. Okay, that's great. Then why are you calling me? Why are you asking me? So a lot of times my vision and everything else is a little bit different. Maybe it's just sometimes people just don't mesh. I'm a little bit more progressive. I believe in the streamings. I believe in this. I believe in that. And I believe in investing heavy. And a lot of people don't want to invest heavy. A lot of people are scared and they're reserved. I take a lot of risks. I believe that a person who risks nothing, does nothing, has nothing. I take a lot of risks and I take a lot of losses, but I also take a lot of wins. And I'm a little bit more daring with stuff, and that kind of turns people off or scares people a certain way, or they just don't want to be part of that world where someone that's a little bit more aggressive and doing what I'm doing, and they're not ready for that. They don't want to do the work. I'm the type of guy, I'll tell Taina, come with me, let's go hand out these flyers. I want you to meet the fans that you're talking to. She'll do it. Other people are like, I don't want to do that, I'm bigger than that. You're not, because if you're not connecting with your fans, how do you know what they want or what they like? How do you know when they tell you, I love your song, I don't like your song? How do you know? A lot of these people don't want to do the work and don't want to see things the way. Don't come to me and say, I love what you're doing, I want to work with you. And then we say, okay. And then they say, well, I don't want to do it your way, I'm going to do it my way.
What they're saying to you actually is that I want you to do what you did for Taina, but I don't want to do what Taina did to get to where she is.
Exactly.
That's a great segue into the Freestyle Illuminati.
Half of the American public believe at least one conspiracy theory. The one they have all heard of is the story of a highly secret society, pulling the strings and controlling the course of world events. But it is not just one story, it is many theories. Here are the greatest Illuminati conspiracies. Musical brainwashing.
Ralph, you know a lot about the Freestyle Illuminati because it has been mentioned time and time again during the time that we've been on the boards and now on the Freestyle Club page.
Yeah, we can't get away from it, man. Yeah, I was looking at the conversation in the group, and one comment kind of stuck out with me because it's a reoccurring theme, is that the people in the know can't talk about it because there'll be consequences and repercussions, right? So I just want to ask you, Andre, has anyone tried to Bruce Lee you? And by that I mean when Bruce Lee came to America and tried to teach us his brand of Kung Fu, he was summoned by the elders and told that he couldn't teach him. So were you summoned by the Freestyle Mafia and told that you couldn't book a certain person or you couldn't book a certain venue when you first started?
No, I mean, when I first started, there were so many people that came up to me, and it was a little overwhelming and a little confusing. Everybody wanted to be my best friend. Everybody wanted me to book them and book their artists, and they didn't want me going through style. They could do it themselves. And meanwhile, hey, book this artist for $5,000. I'm like, well, why would I book that artist for $5,000 when Sal is selling it for $3,000? oh, well, Sal's this and Sal's that. I'm like, but, Sal gave me a chance in his business, so I'm going to stay loyal to him. And there's little clicks when I first joined in this business, and it was hard to go through who was there, who was fake, and who wants to be your friend, and who doesn't want to be your friend. There was just a lot of opportunists, and said I stick with the people I trust. And I've booked people that Sal doesn't really necessarily get along with. And Sal would probably call me up and say, why'd you book them? I'm like, because I just wanted to, and it is what it is. There's been times where you just got to stick to your guns. Like, I love TKA. I love K7, that particular set. I don't necessarily like the other TKA because nothing personal. It's not about the politics to me. It's not about loyalty to K or Sal. It's just I've seen the other act perform live, and I just don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they perform. So it has nothing to do with me being loyal to K. It has to do with the fan, and that's the reason why. That's how I do my business. I mean, I don't think there's anything. Well, if you book a certain artist, you're not rolling with us anymore. I think that's more of like a living legend. It's just if somebody is bashing Sal, then more than likely they're bashing me, and if they're bashing me and Sal, then more than likely they're bashing K, and they're bashing all these people. And so why would we do business with them?
Some people will say that, well, Andre, he has to say that, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to cough once if there's someone standing over you, and we'll call the cops. We'll send the cops.
There are, certain groups that don't like K. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to like them. Oh, but you book K, and Sal books K, so now he's a piece of shit. And you're friends with K, so Andre, you're a piece of shit, and don't come to us to try to ask for business when you're talking shit about me, you're talking shit about all these people. And it's like with CPR. I'm friends with CPR. We do things together. But because, and the same, and vice versa, the people will tell CPR, why are you friends with Andre? Now you're a piece of shit. Or why are you friends with CPR? Now you're a piece of shit. Well, now you're attacking me, and now you're attacking CPR. So now you're upset because I'm friends with CPR and I'm defending him. Well, you're bashing both of us at the same time.
Time out. We're friends?
So basically what it is in the business of freestyle, it's just too personal. Instead of it being about business, it's all about being personal.
It's ego. Everything's an ego. One person gets more bookings than somebody else, because they have a management team that's working that much harder. All of a sudden they're public enemy number one. If someone tries to come to Sal and say, hey, Sal, I want you to book me for a show, but I'm not going to promote your show, and I want you to pay me, and I have no draw. I'm not going to help you out. And Sal says no. Now he's a piece of shit, And that's what it comes down to. Taina has a lot of people that don't like her just simply because she's brand new in the business. She's gone farther than a lot of people that's been in the business for 15, 20 years.
To say that she hasn't earned her audience would be a misrepresentation because she has earned her audience. And the good thing about Taina is that she's done things the old school way. So she has come here to New England, she has come to our area, and she has shaked hands, she's kissed babies, and she's earned her audience. And she's done it multiple times. And she's earned the respect of the people in our area. I can speak for New England because she's been booked here a dozen times. So all I can say is that, she's managed by 6 Cents, but as an artist, she earned whatever she's getting right now. And I kind of resent that, because I've given her a hard time throughout the years, and I've put her through the ringer, and I've put her to the test, and she's passed with flying colors. I have nothing but respect for Taina, and that's just the bottom line, because CPR said so. I just love the fact that, she came.
Love that line.
I know. I love the fact that she came to New England. She traveled. She met everyone that liked her song. She met the people that didn't like her song and turned their hearts around. She did autograph signings, came to work for free. She stayed up late rehearsing. She made a good impression. She kept her cool in hard situations. I mean, I can only say positive things about Taina.
you're in Springfield and Taina has done shows in Lawrence and Malden, Rhode Island, and she goes to these states and she's performing, and then she cries after because people are singing the lyrics to her song. And they know "Let Me Live," they know "Higher," they know "Toxic," they know all these songs because it stemmed from your show, and it's spilled out and people talk about it. And
wait, hold on a second. Wait, don't put me over, because then they're gonna think that you paid me or I paid you, or there's something going on here.
The Illuminati.
Yes, CBR is the Illuminati. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. But I appreciate the sentiment. But a lot of people say that my radio show, it means nothing. The top 10 means nothing.
Because they don't know how to market. They think that just because you're on the top 10 countdown, they're expecting the phone to ring, and it's not going to ring. The people that are listening to your show are the people. The people in New England are listening to your show. But you have to take what they've accomplished by being on the countdown and using that to attract the promoters, like we do. I'll hit up Pellegrino. I'll hit up all those promoters out there in New England. I was like, Taina has a following. If you bring her out there, people are going to sing to her song. She's going to bring in 20, 30, 40 people. And you know what? She's been on the radio. She's been on FM radio, 90.7. She hit number one at this time, at that time. She's been on the top 10 countdown a million times. Give her a shot. And they see it when she goes out there, and you see all those people singing her song, and while Taina's crying, they're like, you're right. You have to use the radio station as a marketing tool to get the word out there. Everyone loves the fact that you're on an FM station, but if they don't know about it, they're never gonna give you that shot. And it makes me sick when I hear these artists. I've been in the top 10 countdown 8 times, and I never got a show. I never made a dime. I never downloaded nothing. Well, you never use that platform as a tool to market. Again, these people they think that just because you have a hot song that you should be booked and the phone should be calling, and it doesn't work that way. I make a million phone calls a day, daily. I scan social media. I see all the shows that are out there, shows that I'm interested in, shows that I think Taina is interested in. I make those phone calls. I try to get myself in there. I push myself in there, and I make those connects, and I do that on a daily basis. It's not something that you can do one day. It's law of averages. You hit 100 people, you're going to talk to 10, you're going to get 2 or 3 offers. That's law of averages. So the more people you hit up, and the more attractive you make it, artists need to put together an EPK, a press kit. What you've done, what you've accomplished. Send it out there. Put 2 or 3 songs that let them download it. Watch a video, a live performance video, and a music video. So let them see what they look like, all prettied up, and let them see them live on stage. Let them see that you've been on this station, that station, that station. See the crowd's reaction. People don't do that. They just sitting there and they make the, phone's not ringing. It's CPR's fault. No, it's your fault. You're not doing the work. CPR did his job by putting you on the countdown. He's giving you airplay, 4,000 watts. People from 3 different states are listening to you right now. Take that accomplishment and utilize it. And that's what people don't do. And that's why people fail. And that's why people blame you.
And that was a public service announcement by 6 cents. I appreciate the words. I appreciate the sentiment. I felt like I was like a ventriloquist, and I was throwing my voice. These are things that I've been talking about since I was 22 years old, and it's 21 years of the same thing. At least it worked for you, and it worked for your artist. If I can help one artist, then I've done my job, because I work for free and I'm not obligated to play anybody's song. The fact that you're on a countdown and I played you on a weekly basis is something that you should be thankful for. But I guess people don't count their blessings in our music. I think that things get too competitive sometimes, especially with the top 10 countdown. And I've talked about this with you personally. If people knew how to use the top 10 countdown as a marketing tool, I think they would get a little further. I think that, if they knew how to promote themselves, I think they would get a bit further. I think that if they stop blaming Sal Abatello and the old school artists for holding them down, does Sal Abatello own a bunch of shows in New York? Yeah, but you've been successful, and you've told us about the methods that you've taken to become successful. And not everything is peachy, but you have been able to have a certain level of success. So I'm hoping that anyone listening to the Freestyle Club this week can get some of the information that you have shared with us and take it as a way to improve themselves or push themselves to do something similar?
There's really no big secret, and there's really no big conspiracy. Things have worked out for Taina and myself because I have two things that a lot of people don't have, and that's hunger and that's drive. When someone tells me you can't be on this show or you can't do this, I'll do my own show. If someone says no, but I find out there's another partner, I'll go through that other partner. There's nothing that's going to stop me from accomplishing what I tend to accomplish. If Sal says no, I'm going to go do it anyway.
So again, I want to recap this. You go over Sal sometimes to get your artist booked. I hope they're listening because, everybody has this assumption that it's you and Sal, buddy, doing things together,
It's what I wanted to say was that this is the thing that kills me in freestyle is I've heard the same arguments from the perspective from the artist saying, well, CPR won't play my song. I'm like, wait a minute. There's 1,000 other DJs out there and 100 other stations that you can go to play your song. So, why does it have to be him? If you can't get on his show, get on someone else's show. Create a buzz and make it so that he has to play your song. There's been songs that CPR, may not play right away, but then he says, wait a minute. This is making a buzz. One of them was with Brysky's song. Like, dude, you got to listen to the song. And it got to the point that he had to play it, and it came on his top 10 countdown.
It was number one on my top 10 countdown. Cold Heart Hotel, Sonny Montrose.
Cold Heart Hotel, checking into you. Next up in your number line, you should be giving me your heart hotel. Checking out of you, stay a little longer next. You should be giving me your heart hotel. Checking into you. Next up in your number line, you should be giving me your heart hotel. Checking out of you, can I get some over? You should be giving me your heart.
Right. So if you can't get from A to B, then go from A, B, C, D till you get to the point that you want to get to.
Here's the best part, Ralph. I have had artists that have told me, I don't need you to play my song, but are currently bitching, moaning, and complaining on social media right now because I'm not playing their song. So I don't get it.
They want to pass blame on everybody else instead of taking responsibility to pushing their own brand. Everything's a brand. CPR's Clubhouse is a brand. The Unknown Admin it's a brand. Fever, Sixth Sense, Taina, they're all brands. You have to care about your brand, and you got to push it, and you got to make it seem like, this is the hottest thing ever. You got to shove it in people's face. Again, people don't believe me, but out of the 10 times I'll ask Sal to put Taina in a show, he'll say no 6 times, maybe 7. And because Taina's on that show, it's because maybe I went through another partner, or maybe Sal's a limited partner, So it's very rare that Sal says yes to me.
And one more thing, just because Taina released a song doesn't mean she automatically goes on the top 10 countdown. You could tell them about that. How many times have I sent you back to the drawing board?
I'm going to tell you this right now. There's been plenty of times. I've given Jose so much music, and there's been plenty of times where he says, I don't like it. I don't flip out. I ask CPR 2 questions. Why don't you like it? And what can I do to make it better? And then I don't sit there, F you, it's your fault. You don't know what you're talking about. Everybody has their own taste and flavors. And to get on a particular market like CPR's Countdown, he has his own style and his own taste. And I know it works because I see the effect that the New England crowd has with Taina. So I'll listen to you because I see the effects of it. And I'll ask you, again, I'm not going to flip out on you because you tell me you don't like it. I want you to tell me the truth. There's been times you said, I love this track. I'm gonna play it right away. And there's been times you said, I just don't like it. It sounds like this. It sounds like that. I just don't like it. Maybe fix this up, get this new producer and whatever. And that's it. I go back to the drawing board. Going back to Sal, he's like a father figure to me. He's a partner. We're partnered in different shows. We're partnered in different things. We do the Central Park show, the American Cancer Society. We do so many different projects together, and we've become extremely close. And it wasn't something that was given to me. It was something that was earned over time through trust, through investments, and good business and bad business, but how we react to those, and that's what builds the relationship.
Yo, what's up? This is Sal Avatello, king of freestyle, baby. Fever Records in the house, crush, groove, and body moving. I want you to go out and buy my girl CD, Taina. Ty. Let me put Ty, and then I'll know, motherfucker, and I had to put him too.
CD sales are down 20%. Digital albums are down 22%. Digital singles are down almost 30%. You were the only one that talks about on-demand streaming. The only artist, promoter, whatever title you want to throw in front of your name. You're the only one that I've seen talk about on-demand streaming, which happens to be on a 45% rise. Vinyl records, we've talked about vinyl records before. That's 20% gains in the last year. Why aren't people talking about streaming? And why are we so late to the game?
Because people refuse to accept what's going on now. They're still stuck in their corner. They're still stuck in their times where CDs was popping, when vinyls was popping. Stream scares them. Look, a known fact is a lot of these new school freestyle artists, they don't even want to take streams. They don't want to take Spotify because they're making pennies, but they're not utilizing it. And again, we recently, and this is all something that I've learned about in the last couple of months, we've linked up with the production company that does business with people like 6ix9ine and XXXTentacion, the guy that was killed, and Trippie Redd, and all these people. And when they talked to me, they schooled me into something new. They're like, listen, the only reason why you don't know about this or don't understand it is because you're old. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, you're in your mid to late 40s. You're old. You still believe in vinyl. You still believe in CDs. You don't understand the power of streaming. The demographic is younger, anywhere from 12 to in their 20s. The majority of those people, all they do is stream. Nobody would look. With streaming, you pay a $10 fee or a $5 fee, whatever it is. You have Tidal, Spotify, you have Google Play, iTunes, Apple Music, and you pay $5 or $10 a month, and you have access to unlimited records. Okay, I could listen to Alex Zuniga. I could listen to whatever I want to listen to on streaming. I don't have to buy the album. I already have the new album. I can play it as many times as I want. When the new song comes on, I play that, and it's cheaper for the consumer than buying a CD for 10, 15, 20 bucks when you only like 2 or 3 songs. So you listen to the streams and you focus on that, and people don't realize the power of that. But if you market it correctly, which is what we've been doing, we're going on all the blogs, the double XLs, whatever freestyle show they're on, and we're going on it. We're posting the links, letting people know that it's there for streaming. We're not trying to take money from you. Listen to it. And we see a major difference. We're releasing a lot of Taina's old stuff into streaming, and the Worth CD, which didn't do well with the freestyle crowd because it was a mixed genre stuff, in 2 weeks had over 200,000 streams. When you do the math, she made like $2,000 on that one project because it's 200,000 streams. And there's a calculator for every artist that you can look up, where if you do 1 million streams in Spotify, you're going to get $4,000. If you do 1 million streams in Google Play, you're going to do $15,000. If you do 1 million streams in iTunes, you're going to get $2,000. You have to, and you got to focus on that one thing that's going to generate the most revenue, and you have to post that everywhere.
Because this is what kills me, and I said in the beginning of the show, this is my biggest gripe with freestyle as an industry, is that we're always 2 steps behind everybody else. Whether when it came to mixtapes, where guys in R&B and hip hop that do mixtapes are the dudes that the R&A guy goes to the scoop on who's the best artist out there, the undiscovered artist. They was boo-hooed. No, you can't go the mixtape route. And then, like I said, Glenn from the West Coast was talking about, forget about CDs, focus on downloads. That's the future. And that caused a shitstorm, And I'm like, wait a minute, it's just not enough forward-thinking people in freestyle. That's why it's in the situation that it's in. No one has a vision. No one can see, the wave coming.
If they don't understand something, they fear it. That's the biggest thing. They don't want to learn about it. You don't need a record label anymore to sell units. Sometimes you don't need massive radio play to sell units. Look at that guy 6ix9ine. No major radio play, no nothing. The guy's platinum all over the place by streams alone. And he doesn't even have major radio play. He's not signed to a record deal. He uses production companies that pushes the streams left and right. And that's the route that he's going. And that's where a lot of these younger artists are starting to turn to, is through the streaming. Because again, trying to force someone to pay 99 cents for a download, it doesn't make any sense. They're not going to do it, especially when they're paying $10 a month and they're getting your song anyway.
It doesn't make 6 cents.
It doesn't. And we see the income starting to come in. And Taina now is making more money off of streaming than she's ever did before with downloads and CD sales.
The information is out there. I mean, this freestyle podcast is what I do as a labor of love, right? Before this, I wasn't really feeling freestyle. I had removed a lot of people, removed myself from groups because I was just, I had moved on. CPR could tell you that when he came to me with the project, I was like, I was thinking about doing something like that, but I just, he laughs because he knows how I felt at the time, right? Yes. here we are, Rolling Stone, Forbes, New York Times, the New York Post, Billboard, Sound Exchange, on and on and on. The information's out there. If I can find it, and I just got back into freestyle, what's everyone else's excuse?
I've always said this. People in freestyle are lazy, uninspired, and they want someone else to do the work for them. I've said this for 20 years now, and it still rings true to this day. As a matter of fact, people are so worried about these Facebook Live videos and being so popular on Facebook Live that the Unknown Admin and I have been focused on podcasting. And everybody in freestyle has completely ignored podcasting. I mean, completely.
Yeah, that was it. 400 something episodes ago, you had asked me when we shut down the freestyle station, what should I be doing next? I said, dude, podcasting. I mean, I didn't even hesitate, right? I said, podcasting. That's it. Where are all the other freestyle podcasts at? I mean, podcasting had a 17% increase from last year. So
Look,
where's freestyle? Where's our podcasters at, man? And I'm willing to help you. I don't understand.
Oh, okay. Can I ask a question? Follow-up question. On the first episode, you offered help. How many people have taken you up on your help?
Let me count. Hold on. Zero.
Not one. I want to thank you for allowing the Unknown Admin and I to be the only freestyle podcast in the last 7 years to be on iTunes, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, and iHeart. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Look, let me just say one thing. People are too scared. They don't want to learn it. And I agree with you that people are extremely lazy. They want everything handed to them. I started doing a lot of these hip-hop shows for a younger crowd, ages 18 to 25. Now, my crowd is a freestyle crowd, white and Latino, 30s to 50s. That's just what it is. So trying to get these younger kids in there, I didn't know what to do. I spent a month, every day, Monday through Friday. I would go to work, and I would go down to SOBs in downtown New York City, and I would hang out there, watch all these shows, watch the young promoters rile up all these kids. I learned how they did it. I recruited some of the artists that were there, and I learned something I didn't know. And now I've been doing 3 or 4 of these hip-hop shows, and it's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But I took the time because I knew my weakness. I knew I couldn't get the younger crowd. I went down there for a month. I learned. I watched how it was done. I asked people how they got it done. If you don't understand something, you have to willing to accept that you don't know this, and you should go back and learn it and figure out how it's done and make it your own. And people just sit there, I don't know how to do that, so I'm just not going to bother.
In all seriousness, we joke around, but we tell the truth, right? And for me is, if you're a little nervous, if you're unsure, well, take the window approach that CPR had mentioned in episode 2, where he was saying, first, invest your money in vinyl, and then take that money and put it into CDs, and then leave iTunes for last, because there's the biggest risk for piracy and all that. So if you're unsure when it comes to streaming, take your older stuff and start with that and see how it goes.
George Lamont released Cry for Love, and he posted, the 15 to 20,000 people that have been streaming Cry for Love on Spotify. And he showed people, here's this old school artist using new technology. It's crazy how they show you how to do it, but you'd rather complain on the Freestyle Club Facebook page about this freestyle Illuminati instead of getting lessons from the king of freestyle, which he shows you on his Instagram page on a daily basis. But do you follow? No. Do you listen? No. You had Andre tell you how he came up from the bottom and now he's here. And so it may be funny, it may be a lyric to a song by Drake, but the bottom line is that's exactly what he did. He invested in himself. He became a promoter, then a manager, a record label. Now he's going to do an FM station. Now he's going to stream. Now he's going to do a bunch of other things that he wants to get out there and get his brand out there. You can't hate on stuff like that. You can hate the person, you just can't hate the work.
When I wanted to produce better track, when I first came out, you weren't crazy about certain tracks. I came to you, and I said, "Who do you recommend? What can I do? I'm looking for this type of sound. I'm looking for this type of energy." You recommended to producers, and Taina will not record with anybody but Willie Valentine because she loves the way he pushes her, and that connection was made through you, Jay Allen, and certain people, and that's because I came to you and I said, "Well, who do I use? Who can I work with?" to get this type of sound and energy. I didn't know. So I went to someone that can help, and I asked questions, and you gave me advice, and I took it, and I flew with it, and you build from it.
And I just hope that people understand that I always have their best interest at heart. I am really tough on people that want to get into freestyle, but I'm tough because I expect a certain quality. And yeah, not everybody's going to be quality, and not everyone's going to be played on my show. I give everything a listen 20 times over. I've been in my car listening to compilations, listening to songs that are completely horrible, and I listen to it 50 times to make sure that I hate it as much as I thought I hated it when I first heard it. I will torture myself with a bad song just to make sure that it's really a bad song, so I can give that feedback back to the artist. And sometimes they're not redeemable. Sometimes those songs are not worthy of spin or worthy of the artist being promoted. And I apologize for hurting your feelings. But fact is fact. There has to be a person to say, stop, this is not quality, this will never be quality. And so when you came to me and I was brutally honest with you, you earned my respect because I told you, hey, this sucks and this is what you need to do to fix it. Here's the number of Jay Allens, here's the number to Willie Valentine, they will get you right.
And I think people need to understand is that if you really care about your craft, there's an investment that you have to make, and you have to make that investment, whether it be your time or money or whatever. You know, I do a lot of work with Willie with production. You know, we're great friends. I'll go to his house for a barbecue. We're friends, but he sends me a bill and I pay that bill. Same thing with Jay Allen. The same thing when I book artists through Sal. And Sal and I are great friends, but I book artists through him. He sends me a huge bill. I pay it, you know, because I believe in investing in the future and investing in your product. And if you're not investing what you think you're worth, you're playing yourself. You pay for your quality. You pay for your production. You pay for your brand.
Baby, I'm burning hot, smoking that.
Oh, wait.
Look at the hater shock melting right before me. I see you checking my vibe. I'm feeling good, so alive. Like yesterday, your soul is so down and out. Now I dance to a whole new beat. Haters wanna flock to my VIP. Starts blowing up, wanna now text me. Subtract the lead.
I want to focus on the new school artists right now and answer those questions that they always ask. Is there someone stopping them from getting to the big shows?
There is no one stopping. They're stopping themselves.
Oh.
There's no drive, and there's no passion, and there's no hunger. The only reason why, you know, certain people get ahead of people is because they want it more. It's like I said, if someone tells me Taina can't be on the show, I'm going to build my own show. If you don't want to put her on the radio, I'll get my own radio station. And that's the way you have to view your career. If someone's going to stop you, do it yourself.
That's my whole mentality when people say, oh, they're stopping this and they don't want that. Just do your own thing. If the old school doesn't want to fuck with the new school, then new school, do your own thing. Do your own little mini concerts. There's plenty of venues for you to go to do your own thing out there. Everyone else is doing it. Why can't you?
So there's no one stopping them. There's no freestyle Illuminati. There's an open door. I was told a few weeks ago that I was kissing the ass of Alex and Latin Nation, right? Because, you know, we're glorifying them. And how can you hate on a guy that sells his own product, that presses his own product, that's promoting his own product on a daily, consistent basis, puts money into the artist, whether they're quality artists or not? I can say that there are some artists on there that I would never play. But the guy is investing money into his own projects, pressing them, selling them. He became his own independent record label brand, all right? And he's still doing it. And he takes that advice. He presses it on CD. You won't see anything from that CD for 6-7 months. He'll sell them. Then he'll put it on iTunes. Then he'll press a CD single with remixes. I mean, you gotta respect that hustle.
So let's take it a step further. Not only is Alex Zuniga doing that, but you don't see Sal or anybody else calling him up to book him. He's putting his own shows together. He's in Buffalo. He's in Philly. He's in Florida. He's in Texas.
Texas, yes, Texas.
He's putting his own shows together, and he's doing it himself. I'm not, like I said, I'm not crazy about, you know, some of his music, but the dude hustles like he's never hustled before, and you got to respect someone like that. Like I said, does his own music, he does his own show.
And to add, he hit me up and he stated, you know, hey, what's going on? Just want to know what singles we're going to be using from the compilation to promote, to see if they can get on CPR's Top 10 Countdown. And I said, you know what? Right now, the countdown is really stuck with a lot of good, fresh music, and they may not make it. I'm being honest. There's about 3 or 4 songs they want to get on right now, and I don't have any space. I don't know if there'll be additions from the Class Menagerie for the rest of the year on the countdown. He didn't flip out. He said, okay, thank you. Here's a couple of songs. Here's a couple of remixes. 27 remixes for one song from 2 years ago. He just did it. He sent them to me. And he's like, I'm going to go promote my shit. The Class Menagerie was the only thing released in the first 6 months of this year. So, of course, some of those songs are going to make the countdown. It was 27 songs, 2 CDs, and, you know, you had to pick the best. But bottom line, that's an artist right there that deserves respect, and that's not going to take this bullshit freestyle Illuminati crap. People who believe in the freestyle Illuminati are the same people that are waiting for the Magnificent B shows to start.
I can't with that one. I can't.
When Alex Zuniga came out with later with his double CD, you saw the flyers. You saw the video clips, the promotional clips. You saw fans taking pictures with the 1,000 posters they saw. I mean, those guys are hustlers, and I just keep thinking back to that, and it was like annoyingly pleasing. Like, wow, this guy's all over the place. It's like annoying, but it's like I said over and over again, it's in your face. He's forcing you to look at what he's doing.
Shout out to Alex, yes. And final thought on Alex, one thing that I will give him credit for is that we wouldn't know hustlers like Benny Gonzalez, and you know how well he hustles. We wouldn't know Damien. These two artists from my area, New England, from Holyoke, Massachusetts, they, because of the Class Menagerie, got to travel to Texas to do a freestyle show in Texas, a place where these guys have never been booked. Damien has been out since the early 2000s. Benny has been trying to get a song in a good 10 to 12 years at the radio station. And this year, because of Alex, they both got to not only be at the top 10 countdown, whether it be brief or not, but they got to travel to Texas to promote the compilation and sing for their Texas crowd. Again, I got to give it up for Alex Zuniga and the Class Menagerie. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Put freestyle aside for a second. Look outside of the freestyle genre and see what other independent artists are doing. I was listening to a podcast where the guy just put in an order for 10,000 CDs at 50 cents a unit. So he was able to negotiate this deal where he got 10,000 CDs for 50 cents each. So how much is he going to make profit off each CD he sold? And I know there's people like, wow, 10,000, he'll never sell that. Well, guess what? He sold 7,500 of the album he had before. That's why he went back and got 10,000 at a cheaper rate. You know, he didn't just wake up one morning and started selling 10,000 units. No, he had to start at the shithole bars and work himself up. And if other people are doing it, why can't we do it? We got to stop with the excuses, roll up our sleeves and start thinking forward, looking what everybody else is doing to get ahead and take that example. To me, it's tiring to hear all these excuses. It's always one thing or another, and it needs to stop if you're going to get ahead. You know, if I want a car, I got to go out and work for it. No one's going to give me a car. You know, no one gave me my apartment. No one gave me the sneakers on my feet. I had to go out and work for it.
Well, that about wraps it up for this specific topic, and I want to thank Andre Faria and, of course, the unknown admin, Rafael Reyes. Coming up next, the Pick Hit of the Week.
This is the Freestyle Club. Pick Hit of the Week.
My pick hit is AP3's Just the Same, produced by Intonation's Joey from Canada, which means you're going to hear a lot of Planet Rock goodness coming up with the song. But to make a point, and I know that the unknown admin hates songs with the Planet Rock beat, there are songs that actually sound really good with the Planet Rock beat, and this is one of them. Once again, it's AP3 and Just the Same.
Now we out in the crowd, hands to the clouds, will you love me just the same? Yeah, we're singing it loud, look what we found, do you trust me just the same? Now we trapped in the sound, feet at the ground, makes it all feel the same. Let me look at you now, thinking about if you love me just the same.
Andre Faria, what is your pick hit of the week?
You know, she is probably one of my favorite up-and-coming freestyle artists of all time. I love her music. I always try to book her when I can. I love Audi Medina, and I love No More. I just downloaded the whole thing just today, and definitely Audi Medina, No More. Shout out to Brad. Let me tell you, Audi I love her flow. I love her style, and she has just a great look, and I love her music. So, yeah, my pick hit of the week is going to be Audi Medina, No More.
Baby boy, it's good to know that you're out for good. Was your ride or die? So it's crazy, and it's funny that you really try to play me. I've been stacking on my money lately. You'll never find another woman that compares to me, baby, and I'm just so great, baby, baby. Save me from a broken heart. I wish the stars done told me who you really were.
Unknown Admin, what is your pick of the week?
I'm going with a song that's a little older, and I'm picking it because I haven't heard a lot of the DJs playing it, so I just want to remind them that it's out there. Jasmine Dennis, Sticks and Stones.
But we've heard this all before. Don't forbid this love no more. Knowing when we made this choice, we let no one between us. Now it's time for them to see. Sticks and stones won't break us free. Nothing they say or do could stop me loving you. Now it's time for them to see. Sticks and stones won't break us free. Our souls are intertwined to stand the test of time.
The Freestyle Club. Freestyle News.
Before we go, here we have this week's edition of Freestyle News.
Sam Medina writes, Pellets are overkill to me. Just make a DJ version with a DJ intro for the in and then to mix out. The rest is in between is up to the DJ to magically create a new sound with it. And I got to agree with 100% that it's up to the DJ. But again, if you have multiple versions, that just opens up a variation that you can't just get with one single. And briefly, a quick example would be Scott Blackwell, a DJ here in New York City back in the 80s when he mixed Dancing on the Fire with the acapella. I'm telling you, the next day, that song, you could not find it in any store because all the DJs went out just to reproduce that mix. So having multiple versions can affect your sales in a way. And it also definitely gives the DJ more creative ability. So thanks, Sal, again for your comments, and keep them coming, folks.
So, Andre, do you offer acapellas with your releases?
No, but we really should. I think we're going to start doing that.
So,
oh, we got a convert. Folks.
Nice.
See,
I love acapellas. I just hate when people use acapellas and they butcher remixes. But I guess that's the whole point, right? The whole point is to get the perfect remix from that acapella to create a new sound and create a new version. And it reminds me of Metropolitan Records when they used to have all those contests where they would feature the artists that would remix songs for them that had not been yet released, and they would give you a tidbit at the Metro message at the end.
No music, no vocals, no beats here. Just me, Vinnie Politan, and my man Jose on the CPR Clubhouse Live.
And then all you wanted to do was wait until that record was released so you can buy it, so you can get that remix that Freestyle DJ did for Metropolitan Records. So give you more acapellas all day. Well, that about does it for us this week on the Freestyle Club. I hope that you've gotten some of the information that we provided during this specific podcast and you take it as a positive, and a lot of the information you take so you can push yourself to be a better artist. We are not trying to in any way, shape, or form disrespect or down anybody. We just wanted to know Andre Faria's journey through the 5 years that he's been in freestyle, and we wanted to talk to him about some of the things that he did to become successful. So we want to thank him for being here. Andre, where can they find you online?
6 Cents NYC. You can look us up there. SIXCENT, like zebra. You can go to our websites at IamFreestyle.com. You can see all the shows and everything that we're doing. All Fever Records, all the time. Not just kidding. IamFreestyle.com. You can see all the latest shows that we have coming up. Lots of shows. We broke it down. The website's even better now. We have Latin, hip hop, and freestyle and disco, of course. So you can go in there and check out any type of shows that are up and coming. Check out Taina at TainaMusicNYC.com. That website's also been revamped, and we look forward to seeing you at our upcoming shows.
Unknown Admin, where can they find you?
You can find me at DaUnknownAdmin.com, and you can also find me on Fortnite grinding out that Ragnarok skin.
I'm CPR Jose Ortiz, and you can find me at CPRSmusic.com. And of course,
peace, love, and freestyle.